real pleasure to be joining the community. ¿Dónde están los boricuas aquí? Muy bien, orgulloso de estar aquí con ustedes y poder hablarles un poquito. As you know, Puerto Rico has gone through challenging times, but I think we're at the cusp of having the opportunity to rebuild as we've always thought we could rebuild Puerto Rico. That has been one of my main challenges as governor, and that has been one of my commitments, not only to the community in Puerto Rico, but also to all of the Puerto Ricans that live in stateside, that we can rebuild that Puerto Rico together, that we can all see what the aspirations are for that Puerto Rico, and as the rebuild money comes in, we can also make meaningful policy change to enhance the quality of life of Puerto Ricans. Now, during this whole process, I want to tell you a story. I had the opportunity a couple of months back, wasn't paying perhaps nearly as much attention as I should have to the electoral scene in Florida, and a lot of people weren't giving much of a chance. And but a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, told me about the charisma and that this guy had algo especial, something special. So as I opened the door to my office when Mayor Gillum was coming, a genuine commitment towards making a fundamental change and towards helping our communities through all their challenges, and with the special thought of innovating in doing so. I saw all of this, and once we left, and I said, hey, this guy's terrific. What's going on? Somebody told me, well, he has so much that he can do right now for Florida. He has so much energy and so much commitment. And then I said some words that I'm going to take back today, which is, I guess it'll be another time. I guess it'll be another time. But then I saw this race evolve, and I started paying attention. And then I felt sick to my stomach because a couple of years back, I was in Mayor Gillum's shoes. It was I who was being discriminated for being too young, or because I didn't have set experience. It was I that was being left on the side, on the polls, and all the pundits considering others, but not considering me as the candidate for Puerto Rico. And then I saw that momentum and that energy, and I sort of saw how his message was clicking, and how much it was infusing people with hope, enthusiasm. And then, of course, it happened. That day when that enthusiasm, that hope, that commitment to change galvanized the polls, and we got Mayor Gillum to be the official candidate of the Democrats.
Thank you. Y'all, we can chill out. We got a few moments, but I won't hold you too long. First of all, a heartfelt thank you and appreciation to Governor Rossello himself, who decided to travel today to be here to assist us as we fight to take back Florida for everyday working people. I thank you for that, and I thank you for your friendship. I also want to quickly acknowledge a man who is fighting on our behalf every single day of the week in Washington, D.C., our own Congressman, Darren Soto. If any of y'all have been paying attention to what's happening, and I know it's hard to not pay attention to what's happening in Washington, you know what a difficult job we've given this man to pull off as he works to hold the president accountable, and as he works to make sure that all of our voices are heard. We stand here together as part of, I believe, the future of where we are trying to go as a nation and as a people. We stand united in our belief that nobody's zip code, area code, where they come from, what language they speak, what religion or lack thereof they may have, that all of us ought to have access and opportunity at the American dream. And for those of us in this state, we know that that has been made more difficult over the last 20 years. We know that we have a governor right now who in many ways may prevail on the political side, may do his politics in some way, but then the question has to be asked, where's the there? How are our communities served by that? What are we doing to make sure that we have access to affordable housing for everybody, not just the well-heeled and the well-connected? What are we doing to make sure that we are paying teachers what they are worth for doing the most difficult job that exists? What are we doing? What are we doing to create the kind of economy in this state, and Kissimmee and Osceola, over to Orange, all the way up to Duval and across the northern panhandle and as far south as Monroe County, to ensure that people can work one job in order to earn a wage and not 2 or 3 jobs? I am convinced that we have an opportunity to build the kind of state that makes room for all of us. The kind of state where all of us are respected. The kind of state where all of our children, regardless of where they come from and what side of the track they grow up on, get access to a good quality education that sets them on a trajectory for the sky and beyond. I believe we can do that. I believe we can do that. You all have had introduced before I came out here some amazing elected officials. Many of them are seated right here. They're working on our behalf every day. In fact, in addition to Congressman Soto and obviously in the presence of the governor, I want to thank these folks, because after Hurricane Maria, and we saw so many of our communities swell, with folks leaving the island, coming here to make sure that they get access to electricity and water and housing and work, while we all work to pour our resources into ensuring that the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico could rebuild and become a place where if you wanted to choose to go back, that it was a welcoming and settled place for you. And that if you chose to stay here, that you get access to good education and good affordable housing and jobs that pay good wages, right? A government that is responsive to you. You don't have to be from Puerto Rico in order to desire those outcomes. Right? Those of us right here in the state of Florida every day desire those outcomes as well. But these elected officials, they stood on the gap on our behalf. Our senators, our representatives, our sheriff, our county and city council members, even our soil and water conservation folks, right? This man was a champion up there every day of the week. This man was also a champion just simply saying, don't treat us like a third world. That we're American citizens. And that we deserve the respect and the dignity that comes with humanity. Well, guess what, y'all? I'm here to ask to be the candidate for governor that is the candidate choice of the Boricuas right here in the state of Florida. I want that label. Work for it. I don't want to tokenize. I want my lived experience here in the state of Florida to say, you know what, that is our shared experience. When I talk about people being able to work a job where they can earn a livable wage, I'm talking about my mother and my father, my mom who was a school bus driver, and my daddy who was a construction worker, who sometimes when construction work was not enough in supply, you would find him on a street corner selling fruits or vegetables. Between my mother and father, they're the best examples of hard work that I know to this day. I know what it means to have watched them trade between which bills they could pay before something got cut off. When I talk about what we need to do to ensure that we treat health care as a right and not a privilege and expand Medicaid for 800,000 people, it's not a talking point to me. It's not a talking point to me. I believe it because I remember what it was like sometimes as a kid to wait for the free dental clinic to come through the neighborhood to have our teeth cleaned. And what I know about that is that nobody in this state ought to be terrified of getting sick. Not one of us ought to be terrified that if we get sick, we can't go to work. And if we can't go to work, we can't earn a wage. And if we can't earn a wage, we can't pay our bills. That's the everyday lived experience of far too many people. And so we've got to ensure that we can amass the support of people of goodwill from all walks of life, from red areas and blue areas and purple areas of this state who say, I've had enough. That it's our time to be seen and to be heard and to have our politics reflected in our elected officials. I believe we can have that. I believe we can do that. But it's not enough for us to believe. We got to do the work. We got to get out there and organize like our lives depend on it. Because the truth of the matter is our lives very much so depend on who the next governor is of the great state of Florida. It matters that we have a champion in that office. Not someone who plays political theater with our lives, but someone who's going to be a true and unapologetic advocate for us, the everyday people of this state. I want you to know I plan to be that champion. But I also want you to know that I can't get there by myself. It is going to take the effort, the hard work, the energy of every single one of us. I heard the governor talk about it. We're going to have to talk to our friends, our neighbors. We're going to have to engage them and let them know what is at stake in this race. Encourage them to vote their own interests. Encourage them to vote their own livelihood. Encourage them to vote their own futures. Because if they make a decision based off of those determinants, I have no doubt that they would choose the Gillum team ticket. So I will end here by once again thanking my friend the governor who again didn't have to travel that distance. But what I wanted him to know and what I want those to know in the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico on the island is, one, I understand that off the island, Florida is the largest community of Puerto Ricans outside of Puerto Rico. We know that. What I also want him to know is that we share in common the fact that our community economic exchange, strong educational exchange, strong cultural exchange that strengthen folks on the island and strengthen them right here in the state of Florida. Are both striving to do is to be the best representative voices for the people of our communities. To be the best representative voices so that folks know that they aren't second class where they live. To be the best voice that we can be to say that every person deserves an opportunity and access to the fullness of the American dream. And that every day we're going to go to work on their behalf to make it happen. I have enjoyed being the mayor of Florida's capital city, the fastest growing economy per capita in the state of Florida. I'm proud to be the mayor of the city that's experiencing a 5-year low in our crime rate while at the same time arresting fewer people to make it happen. I'm proud to be the mayor of the city that won the tech hire designation during the Obama administration for the work that we're doing to retrain workers in this state to have the skills that they need to get jobs that will pay them a good wage. But y'all, I gotta tell you unapologetically, as proud as I am to be mayor of Florida's capital city, it is my prayer that the next time we greet each other, I will greet you as the governor of the state.
Who are here, some who still want to go back home, others who are trying to settle here. How specifically, action-wise, do you support them?
Well, let me be clear. Action-wise, you can veto a budget that doesn't include funding for affordable housing. Action-wise, make sure that you pay teachers what they're worth for doing the jobs that they do and getting access to a good quality public education. And what it also means specifically for those who came from Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria is, one, for those who choose to go home, we want to make sure we're a help aid as much as we can to ensure that when they go home, they're able to enter life the way they left it. But for those who choose to stay, we want to make sure that there's reciprocity amongst the licensing process. Well, first of all, we are neighbor communities. We are impacted weather-wise by a lot of the same hurricanes. We're each other's first responder. We also here in the state of Florida happen to be home to the majority of Puerto Ricans off the island of Puerto Rico. And we want them to know, even for those who have frankly grown up here in the state of Florida, their connection is extremely strong there. The diaspora is very strong here in the state of Florida and around the country. We want to make sure that they know that we are friends, not just in the aftermath of natural disasters, but around the year that we've got educational, cultural, economic exchanges with each other, and that they're never going to be far from home when they're here in the state of Florida.
Do you feel like